Yeah, this gonna be my reaction for Akala's music video, World War. Let's begin.
The World's War, 1884. History. History is written by the winners, true. Sometimes the heroes are of another hue, another religion, another point of view. Are they remembered and taught by who? The World's War, 1884. Scramble for Africa, height of imperial force. European armies go and conquer the globe with a gentleman's agreement to not kill off their own. So massacres in the Congo, all the dead at Amritsar, ain't nothing wrong though. Some are less dead than others, you know why?
Yeah, I want to talk about this part, the massacre in Congo, with Belgium, and later on with the Congo, like the Belgium stating up the dictatorship in Congo, and all this kind of thing. Is should I say, this thing is like this. No, the thing I want to say about the song from Akala, "The World War," is interesting part in the songs. The first one, we can say, he talk, of course, obviously he talk about different people, like in the war. He talk about different aspects in it. He really, how, like, when we think about the World War, we almost always think the bad guys was the Germans and the Japanese, but the English was also very, very bad people in the war. They do horrible things to people in the East Asia and other country. So that is the point of the story, that you can be they look at you as a hero because they don't know what horrible thing you have done. And so that is the meaning of the song. He talked about, like, you can sacrifice people from other country in your army, so you not need to sacrifice yourself. And that is also a thing the English and many other army have done, and that they use, like in English they used the Nepalese from Nepal in the war against the Japanese, and French, they use people from Algeria. So many of them use other people for their own benefit, so they sacrifice them to not have to sacrifice themselves. Yeah, so that is is a truth. This truth is true of humanity. This thing is true of humanity because of is this very easy to point your finger and say this is the bad side, but the English, yeah, in many other countries kill lots of people and so on. Let's continue with this song.
It's the same in the grave as it is in this life. The lower grade races, subject people, have a different.
Here, low races, subjugate people. Exactly what I talked about before. Exactly, that is like the English in Africa, in South Africa, the Belgium in also in Africa with the Congo. Like not Leopold first ruled Congo, then later the Belgium, the Congo Free State, and that is exactly the same. Like, is in all history we more blame the Germans for what they have done, and they done horrible things, but it's similar to the English. What the English done is also similar to what the Germans have done against the Indian people, the African people. So it's not like it's and the French too. The French, how the French, the English and the French in the World War One, they broke a promise. They have promised the free for the Arabian people, the free country, but they lied to them, and this is the reason why we have the problem today, because the English and the French lie by the agreement to promise the Arabian people from the World War One. So the simplest way to say everything is like all of this colonizing occupation, all of them are equal as bad as the other. So this no one is more bad than other. Like it's more easy as the point to find always like the reason why Germany was in the First World War One. Germany lost, and Germany have to pay lots of money to the English and the French. And then the German was really poor because of all the payment, and later on, of course, the World War II, the German built the Nazi regime, and this kind of thing. But we also need to look what the English have done against other people. That is also a very important thing. We really need to do what English or the French have done against people. So not so many books are written about. Like, it's one thing to talk about what the European against other European done, but we need to really understand what the English country or the French have done to other people, like in South Asia. When they torture people, they put them on bamboo sticks and they shoot them with the cannons, and they use chemical weapons against native people, like and they massacre in India against the civilians, like in Australia with the English also done. Like, so this very easy to just find one bad guy if you don't want to see the bad thing in history but other have done. And that is the reason this song is very good, for he really bring up every aspect from different part. Like he really every European country are in the front line of the point of the song, and so on. Let's continue.
Heaven or hell is less equal. In the same way, we choose to remember who to lionize and who to forget altogether, not based upon the sacrifice that they made, but upon the prejudices of the time and the place. So
sorry, I paused so early again. Like when the prejudice, like the sacrifice they made, but the prejudice, yeah. So that is, they sacrificed themselves for occupying. They sacrificed themselves because they believe if they work for the English, they be more accepted. But of course, they're not gonna get accepted, and they just use them as human fodder, or to sacrifice them, because it's like the English used the Nepalese army in Nepal. They used them for they was extremely successful, and that is big, like a reality now. Like without the Nepalese, English will never ever succeed in the war, because the Nepalese was the reason why they can defeat the Japanese. And that is like, but still the English always looked down on the Nepali. They always gonna see them as the second class citizen, because what I mean with everything is like this: they use other people in the army, like the Sikhs, the Nepalese, but they still, even though they was almost better in the English in some way, as in the fighting way style, because they are more militarized people. the English still gonna take all the glory if they think they are just serving them for. Yeah. Let's continue.
Chinese workers on the western front, the dug trenches and then filled in the graves and made their way. Carving engravings on shell casings fade from the story as we tell it today. And gas made its way across the battlefield, choking North Africans fighting for France. They were French enough.
Yeah, exactly what I said before. That is much. He's saying much more better here. Like they fight for. Sorry, I must hear again. Wait.
Tell it today and gas. As we tell it today, and gas made its way across the battlefield, choking North Africans fighting for France. They were French enough.
Here, they front line with the gas. This fight for the French, but they are not French enough. Even if they fight for French, yeah, that's what I mean. What I said before is, even if you fight for the other country that have occupied your country and colonize you, they still not gonna see you as one of their own. That is the one point of it all. Is like the French people, like when they use people in Algeria, they use them because if they use this army, they don't have to sacrifice their own army, and that is a reality. Like, but nobody really want to speak about this kind of thing. Nobody want to speak about what the French does, like in the French Revolution, like the same, like they freed themselves with the French Revolution, but they still use slavery in Haiti, and like this, all that things is. When we think when they executed the kings in France, but we don't understand that they still use slaves. They still have slave colonies, and they still look down on different people. They still are a very racist view, but we don't want to see that. We really don't want to understand that reality of the picture about. We want to see the French Revolution as a success with the decapitation of the kings. We don't want to really we don't really want to know the real aspect of it all. We don't want to know about the Haiti, and of course the Haiti also do free themselves to fight against the French. And one thing I remember when I was in Caribbean. There's a very famous museum in Caribbean. There is a big slave museum, and one thing that was very interesting thing, that Napoleon was really for slavery. Like he was really for. He wants slavery, and that is also one aspect about Napoleon. Is maybe now I go big out of topic from this reaction for this video, but it's like this, like you almost believe like Napoleon, Alexander the Great, you almost believe they are good people. You almost do that, like when you really don't have to. You really need to understand that all of them was colonizers. And all of them force people against their own will to live the way they want. So even if they look as heroes, some of them was not really a hero. Yeah. So the point is with this simple is this: that even if they sacrifice their own life for a place, they will never accept them anyway. And so let's continue.
Die for the flag, but reconcile with history, it seems that we can't. The process of forgetting started at the beginning, cause of the discomfort of who it was that was winning. History is written by the winners, true. Sometimes though heroes are of another hue, another religion, another point of view. I didn't remember the two, by who? History is written by the winners, true. Sometimes though heroes are of another hue, another religion, another point of view. I didn't remember the two, by who? When you have an empire of inferior
here also, if you have an empire with inferior creature, and that is also a very strange thing, that that is what the English, the French, the German, the Belgian, the Italian, the Spaniards, all of them think so of the people they have colonized or occupy. They believe them as inferior people. For they believe they are, if they have darker skin, they are different religion, like the Italian in Africa, in Namibia. Oh, sorry, Germany in Namibia. Sorry, and they use chemical. All of them, like this. Also, one thing that happened in Namibia was also a genocide, but nobody knows. So many people knows about this kind of thing, because many things, like even the very famous genocide in Rwanda. Still, when the first genocide happened, there was what's a word for it? Every European or an American country do everything in their might don't see as a genocide. They don't want to write it down on the paper as a genocide, and that is this even today. Like when there happen a genocide, the European country always gonna try to write it off from the paper. They're really always gonna try to find other word for it, other name. They don't want to. Yeah, for all of the people was in Rwanda. They know about the plan for the genocide, where they still leave the people leave them to save their own skin, and that is a horrible shame. And maybe let's continue.
What happens when you need them to die like real people? Through the training and the sacrifice might end up believing that they are equal. Go back to the land of the savages, unwilling for subordination for people that they were killing. Quickly they erased them, unmarked grazed them. Disavowed them of any idea that things were changing. The wrong people that fought for the British flag were not invited to the victory parade.
Here it was in the beginning of the song. In the British, they was not British enough. They were not inviting to British victory parade, and maybe that he talked about the Gurkhas and the Sikhs and other people some work for the English, and even if they do all the dirty work, even if they do the biggest work of them all, like the Nepalese, maybe they were more in the front line, and the English in the war. So maybe, but the still English can still take the honor for themselves, even if they know that the Nepalese was more. There was without the Nepalese, without the Sikhs, they 100% would have lost the war. So, but you cannot say that to a patriotic Englishman. Like, for they still gonna ignore that, even if the Nepalese was the reason why the English win the war. Without the Nepalese, they will absolutely lost against the Japanese. Without the Sikhs, they will lose also the war. So that is, but they still were not invited to the victory parade because of the English wanted all the glory for themselves. And it's not only the English. I don't mean. It's not only the English. It's also the Belgian, the French, the Italian, the Spaniards, many other countries, French. All of them always going to take the glory for themselves, even if they have used other people in the army, like the French Legion. So you're always going to use other people working for you as the army, but you're still going to take the glory for yourself. And let's continue.
Did the same work, fought in the same war, never got the same bonus. When Armistice Day came, black Americans in segregated units with German POWs treated better than them.
Here, people like black Americans, like, of course he talk about the people, some joined the war, and after the slavery, like the World War II, and he also talked about the captured German soldiers from like the Nazi soldier was captured of the Americans. Like he said, they was better treated than the black Americans. Like in the army, even the SS officers, was still get more for their white skin. So American were very racist, also very racist in that time, similar to the Nazis. But they also believe they are superior to the people with darker skin. So that's what I mean that the German was better treated because the American soldier looked more equal to the Germans because the both of them have white skin, and they would look more down to the black skin. Like yeah, so the people with darker skin always in that time, like the World War, like slavery, they always look down on them, and yeah, let's continue.
Back to America, Jim Crow and lynching that will greet them when the war ends. Red summer, domestic terrorism put them back in a place. Vigilante mobs, clan and the police collaborate while the state look the other way. Liverpool and Cardiff, Barry, London and Glasgow. After the war, similar terrorism war grown hierarchy supposed to be eternal, and for that it could never be forgiven. History is written by the winners, true. Sometimes the heroes are of another hue, another religion, another point of view. I don't remember the two, by who? History is written by the winners, true. Sometimes the heroes are of another hue, another religion, another point of view. I don't remember the two, by who?
And here, like he said, always history written about the winner, but the people that are helping the person to write down always going to be forgotten. Like that's what I mean. Simply, it's like the victory is always this is true, but the people who sacrifice themselves for the person to win, they always going to be left in the shadow. Yeah. So yeah, this was all thing I want to say. This was my reaction for Akala's song "World War," and yeah.